I don't know what that is.
That is some weird shit.
Millennia 2735, Ho Chi Minh 120, Decimal 7, good day.
Ho Chi Minh 120, Decimal 7, good day, Millennia 2735.
Gone.
That shit is crazy. It's a fucking cloud with lights in it. Moving weird. I've never seen no shit like that. The cloud got sparkly lights in it. I've never seen no shit like that. Moving weird. Now you see them sparkling lights in it. Never seen no shit like this in my life.
Hey guys, study after study shows that if you want strong bones and muscles, healthy hair, skin, teeth, and nails, you need the 5 types of collagen in your diet. I get mine from BioTrust. I've got a link in the description with a massive discount, and it'll tell you all about it.
This is your water source. Being sprayed on. Condensation trails are supposed to disappear.
Your boss is an MSNBC, which is sort of sometimes called like a liberal Fox. I don't think it's entirely fair. If you were asked to do any of that stuff, what would you say?
I would say no, but I would never be asked that.
But I'm asking, it's a hypothetical.
Well, I don't do hypotheticals, A,
Okay.
but B, look, I think this is an important piece to dive into because MSNBC has a very high standard of what is factual. You have to go through a process before you report things on air.
What?
MSNBC has a
very high standard of what is factual. You have to go through a process before you report things on air.
Oh, really? You're a member of the judiciary. Do you believe the president right now has been an agent of the Russians?
Yes, I think there's more evidence than he is. Yes, and I think all the arrows point in that direction, and I haven't seen a single piece of evidence that he's not.
An agent like in the 1940s where you had people who are Reds, to use an old term, like that. In other words, working for a foreign power.
He's working on behalf of the Russians, yeah.
Okay.
MSNBC has a very high standard of what is factual.
I want to be clear in how I characterize this. This is mostly a protest. It is not generally speaking unruly. It is not generally speaking unruly. But fires have been started.
You have to go through a process before you report things on air.
There's so many questions about the provenance of this material. A lot of it does look legitimate. There are pictures of Hunter Biden, there are videos, there are emails, but we have no idea, and neither does the New York Post, whether any of it was doctored or forged or faked, and that's why the mainstream news media has declined to really touch this story because it just lacks credibility.
You have to go through a process before you report things on air.
You said it.
My suggestion
Ask yourself if the stock would be worth owning on its own merits. Buying a stock just to spite the short sellers, I'm telling you, that's ultimately a mug's game, especially if the stock is genuinely worth shorting.
This is cronyism all the way down. And I had a front row seat to this. I'll just lift the curtain for you guys a little bit. I was very vocal about this all weekend, that, you know what, Silicon Valley tech companies made awful decisions, self-interested decisions, because they got special favors in return for putting way too much money in Silicon Valley Bank. Well, you own the consequences of your actions. That's how capitalism works. Instead, the Biden administration applies two different rules to two different kinds of people. If that was an oil and gas bank in Oklahoma, would they bail out those depositors? No, they would not. But because this was Silicon Valley, because they're dancing to the right tune, because they're part of the Democratic Party donor class, they bailed out those depositors. And I think this is a shame. It's a stain on our national soul. And you know what? I got a lot of calls from that donor class, multi-billionaires in Silicon Valley over the weekend, trying to press me, would-be donors or would-be supporters, saying that they can't support me anymore if this is the position I take. Well, you know what? If I lose those donors, so be it. I'd rather still speak my mind freely. Thankfully, I've lived the full arc of the American dream and able to support this campaign personally. But it's also just going to take a bottom-up grassroots uprising to make up for it, of even $1 or $5 donors. That's why I tell people, go to Vivek2024.com. I don't care if it's $1, get in there. But what we actually need is a Republican Party that's unshackled from the chokehold of Silicon Valley. And that's why a lot of the Republicans have been quiet about this. It's their donor class, even in Silicon Valley, that actually pulls the strings. It's important we lift the curtain and see that for what it is.
So what, I guess my question is, you said that they're both women, right? So what is a woman?
A woman is anyone who wants to identify as one.
A cat is a cat because they are a cat. That's not like...
I feel like
this isn't a gotcha. It's just a genuine question. What
like
is a woman? Hold on. Hold on. Go ahead.
I didn't have anything to say yet.
But what is a woman?
A person.
No, but what is the definition of what is a woman?
I don't know. I'm confused now.
I understand what your argument is. If I come out and I say a woman is someone who was born biologically a woman, I understand that that's where you're coming from. And I agree everyone is entitled to their own opinion. But I personally, as an individual, respect trans people. I respect trans women. So I'm not going to come on here and invalidate them by saying that. I understand completely where you're coming from. But just from my personal preference, I don't feel comfortable doing that.
Answering the question. Okay. No, hey, that's okay. What about you?
I'm just not really interested in having this conversation about trans people anymore because you seem very clearly committed to misunderstanding.
Yeah.
Well, I am trying to understand. I'm just trying to get people's perspective. So what is a woman?
I'm going to say what she said. I don't feel comfortable.
I just feel like that's like not... I don't know. I feel like there's a better question that could be asked in this situation. We all respect the trans community enough and like invalidating that, like telling they believe that they are a woman or they're a man, transgender, whatever, and invalidating that's not our position. It's not our place to say what they can and can't be.
Allie, what is a woman?
Well, a woman is an adult human female. It's the same thing like a man is an adult human male. XX chromosomes, that means you're a woman. There are people that are born intersex. They're an incredible minority. And, you know, men are humans who have XY chromosomes.